So we're here in Wisconsin at Back 40 Firewood with Dan, and he has on site the Yappa 365. I wanted to see this machine in action, and fortunately the weather has cooperated briefly, so we're gonna run this thing a little bit. You maybe have seen on my channel, I've done a few firewood processors now, and I'm really focused on kind of the not entry level, but the professional firewood processors that don't cost $1 million. And this is one of those. And this appears to be a very productive machine. You have a Yappa. Ohio Woodburner has a Yappa. Hometown Acres has a Yappa. And I've seen these things in action quite a bit. They're very impressive. And looking forward to seeing it run here today. Anything you want to tell us about this machine before we get started?
I don't know. Yeah, I started out with the 315. This is the 365 Plus Pro. They do make a model of this that doesn't have the axle, so it's like stationary. They also make one that's PTO driven, so they have different options. The thing I like about this is I can move it around. So if I get sick of it being here, I can move it over there, and I can, you know.
Yeah,
it's fast. It's got a log lift built in, so it's, you know, conveyor out the back. I mean, everything you need to do to process logs, it can handle. It's just that you need good material coming in to send through it. So no crooked, knotty, you know, that stuff you got to clean up.
So I have noticed some of their other machines, like you mentioned, are not fully self-contained like this one. So this one has a Honda engine, and like you said, it's on a trailer. You can move it around, and I can see the conveyor on it also swings.
Yep. Right.
So that's going to limit how often you need to move the machine, which is important for productivity, I think, versus a stationary conveyor. You know, you're going to have to constantly move that machine.
Huge advantage. So, like for instance, how I have this set up now is I slew it over to the far left and I run it onto a pile for my wood, my personal burning wood. Then I move the conveyor all the way to the right and I can run it into totes for another purpose, selling or mini firewood or whatever. It's nice to have that flexibility being in one location to split essentially into two different products, you know, two different zones or whatever. two-handed. Yeah. But don't, you got to make sure that the saw is all the way up before you bring the log in. Right. When you bring the saw down in cuts, then just push it all the way up.
It doesn't bring itself up.
It does, but it's still small.
Okay. it to the end.
So now we advance it to 16.
What's that?
Yeah, so now you can just cut that little piece off.
And then I pinch it. Okay. Dan's gonna load a crooked one on here, and it's small diameter, but you'll see how we're able to navigate the crooked one through there.
This one, let's go.
Still just hung up just a little bit. Oh, we dropped two in there, we didn't split it. Nice.
So you can see with proper logs.
Well, I think, you know, for what we just did, it was still faster than cutting it by hand and picking it up, putting it on the splitter. But you kind of, that last one that was real crooked, you needed three hands.
You gotta just, you know,
needed,
compensate for the bend and the crooks and.
Yeah, and then you do have, kind of like what I did with the Halverson, you've got a pile over here of some of the more knotty stuff and the Ys and the crotches, and it's just not made to go through that machine. So you're saving these for a bigger splitter for your Wolf Ridge or something else, and that makes sense. You just use that machine for what it's built for and fly through your straightest stuff and your least knotty stuff.
This is built in Finland, and in Finland the forests are full of trees that are 8 to 12 inch in diameter and 60 feet tall straight up. So you can imagine if you had consistent, just smooth
piles
logs.
of that.
you know, the rhythm that you get into with both hands, where you can send the splitter as you're cutting,
Yes.
bring the next log in as it's splitting. You know, you just get into this rhythm where you can really fly through a lot of wood.
Yeah. And it looks like this log lift and the infeed table combination is made for maybe up to about 10-foot length. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Any longer than that, it probably gets a little back heavy.
Yeah,
And
the longest I've had on here was 24 foot 9 inches.
And how'd you do that?
I had the big end, the butt end in, and it was
And
sticking way
you didn't
up.
have anything supporting it over here?
No,
Oh, wow.
just the log lift.
Okay. Well, that's impressive.
Yeah, but you know, it's not made for that, but it can handle longer logs. So they do make like live decks, you know, that accompany
Yeah.
this, and we'll
Yeah.
load it. But yeah, it's fun to run. Just you got to have good logs.
You got to have
going in.
the supply. Yeah, which, you know, I do now. And I think, you know, the next evolution of my business is looking for some kind of processor to take some of the manual work out of the process. And, you know, this is impressive. And I think this is a good fit for some of the wood that I get. So,
Yeah, just the ability to saw, cut it to length, split it, and take it away, all in one, from one station. You know,
Yeah.
you're not, like with a traditional log splitter, you have to buck the rounds, you have to have a chainsaw, you cut the rounds, so that takes time. Then you got to pick the rounds up onto the splitter,
right.
then take them away from the splitter. Here, the log comes in and your split firewood goes out, and you're just in one position, moving levers. Very nice.
Very, very, very nice. The Yappa 365 can do up to a 14-inch log, and right here with a 4-way wedge on it. You know if it can come with a 6? You've got the 6.
And the 8.
Oh, a 6 and an 8. Look at that. We didn't even play with that today.
Yep.
So this machine can do small firewood like I like to have for your backyard fire pits and that kind of thing. But if you're just doing heating wood and you want to blast out 4-way splits out of a 12 or 14-inch log and get big splits out of it, this thing can do it too. But like the Halverson that I had, Dan's got a pile over here of the knotty pieces and the crotches and all that, because it's just not splitting those through a multi-way wedge. It's just not strong enough to do that. So he's going to reserve these for his wolf ridge. But if you want to learn more about the Yappa products, Metza Machines, metzamachines.com is where you want to go. They are your US supplier for these things. And there are several different models available, different sizes and different price points that you might want to check out.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Thanks, Dan, for showing me around the
Good
yard
fun
and for
meeting you,
showing
seeing
me.
you, and yeah, coming on up to Wisconsin.
Glad I stumbled on the wood rack out front today. Still need to find those cheese curds though.
Oh, any direction I can point you, and I'll show you where they are.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.